Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're watching me today. It's your favorite guy again, Peter Ads. Guys, if you see me wearing my jacket, you know we're the winter now. So my friends in United States, you know what's going on there. So even though I'm not in US, but everywhere is cold, so that's why I'm preparing to go out. So and that's why I'm wearing my jacket. You may be wondering, why is he wearing jacket in the house? So today I'm gonna be talking about my market projection for 2026, because every year I always come out in the January to explain, what my projection, what I view about the coming year, about the year, new year we're into, and all that stuff. So this year is not going to be an exception, and I'm going to explain to you in details what I actually think is going to play out before our eyes. First of all, right, January this year came with a surprise for everyone. The narco president was picked up by DJT, right? Everybody was like, whoa, how can that play out like that? Who can pull this off? Well, DJT pulled it off. Maduro was picked up whilst on the bed with his wife in PJ, okay? And everybody was shocked, like, whoa. And that took only United States under 2 hours. The whole thing was completed. The news came out to everybody in the morning, and people were like, goodness me, what's this man not going to do again? And because of that, everything quickly reset. The oil sector and some other sectors were like, you know what, DJT is not playing around this year. So market started with a bang, right? And the year started with a bang, followed by another tweet coming from DJT through his social media, Truth Social, that he's going to be taking Greenland the easy way or the hard way. Market don't really like that. And world leaders were complaining, what does this guy mean by the hard way? Then he explained himself that, no, he didn't. The pressmen asking him questions were like, okay, what do you mean by the hard way? Are you going to invade, Greenland? And he said, well, if it comes to that, he's going to do it. And quickly, market started going sideways. And world leaders were condemning that language, that even if it goes to that level, he's going to take it. And, European countries were thinking, what's DJT talking about? The Danish don't want to sell Greenland, even though US bases are in Greenland. And DJT won the whole land for himself, for United States, not for himself, because he's representing the United States, the president of the United States, and leader of the free world, right? So what leaders they were not buying into that idea. They were thinking, is he biting more than he can chew at this level? Let's see how it's going to play out. So market started going sideways a little bit from that, just from that tweet alone and all that. Then Davos, at World Economic Forum that was held in Scotland, right? It's only been held in Scotland, Switzerland. Sorry, why am I saying Scotland? Switzerland, Davos in Switzerland, right? Where the world leaders, CEOs, they come to meet and talk about, their projection for the year, about all the economy, world economy, WTO, IMF. Leaders always be there as well to talk about individual countries, how the countries are faring, and how they want to help and all that stuff. So DJT went there. People were anticipating, the French leader, Macron, was there. He said what he said. Canadian, McCartney, he said what he said. We all saw what he said. DJT wasn't happy with all those leaders coming. And DJT started talking about how, United States came to the rescue during World War II, that if not for United States, the whole Europe today will be speaking, German and a bit of Japanese. Well, that wasn't a lie, because if Hitler had actually invaded France, that would have been the end of European Union that we know today, all right? But United States soldiers came through different angles to rescue the situation. That's true, right? But he's now complaining that the leaders Oh, before I go forward, right? Before Davos, just a couple of days before Davos, he made mention of like the leaders who, because he said he's gonna be taking Greenland the easy way or the hard way, and he said that the Danish can't protect Greenland if China or Russia wants to take that place. So because of that, a couple of European leaders send their soldiers. I think French sent like maybe 10 or less than 10. UK sent one officer. German sent a couple of soldiers as well and all that. DJT wasn't happy with that idea. Why are these people sending soldiers to this country? Is it just because I'm talking about this now? So because of that, he placed 10% tariff on those countries like Germany, UK, France, Norway, Denmark. I can't remember a couple of countries, just like a couple of like 6 countries. He's placed 6 or 7 countries. He said those countries who are actually fighting against us getting Greenland will be levied with 10% tariff, and that will be starting from February the 1st. That actually rattled the market, and investors don't like that. They were like, you know what, DJT is going to be using tariff now to get whatever he wants. So that was the rattling we had before Davos. So during Davos, right, going back to what he said in Davos now, he said, US came to the rescue, helped European countries, that EU are not NATO now. He moved to NATO, that NATO countries are not paying their fair share, that he was the one that pushed NATO from paying 2% to 5%. And that was true. NATO countries, some countries like Spain, Portugal, Belgium, and some other countries, they were not able to fulfill their 2% GDP, investing 2% of their GDP into defense. They couldn't meet up. And DJT wasn't happy with that. And he said, you know what, 2% is not enough. What happened between Russia and Ukraine should be a lesson that NATO countries should be putting 5% of their GDP into their defense. And the EU leader, I can't remember the name of the woman now, Ursula von der Leyen, all right, if I pronounce it properly. If not, please bear with me. So she now said, okay, you know what, EU and will be investing a lot of money into their defense, just, because what happened to Ukraine, they wouldn't want that to play out again the second time. So EU started investing, NATO countries started investing, they're pushing their investment to 5% of GDP. Now, some countries are actually, like Poland, they're actually putting the 5% to it, and UK pushing towards that level, and French as well, and Germany as well. They're actually on that 5% at this level. But some countries are still struggling. And that's what DGT is pointing out, that you guys are not putting enough money. And if anything kicks off, will you be able to defend yourself? And he even says that, you know what, those countries who are not going to help us now to get Greenland will remember you all. So he left, right? So before he left, an agreement was made, and EU leaders, NATO leader, right? He actually sat with Donald J. Trump to discuss the whole scenario and all that stuff. So they actually agreed on a particular basis that US can actually have access to Greenland and do whatever they want on that land, right? We have not actually seen the whole, agreement, but what DJT said was like, US will forever have access to Greenland. And why is US mentioning Greenland? You might want to know. It's because, at the Arctic, right? The easiest way, right? The quickest way from Europe to US is through that Greenland. And because of global warming, the ice is actually dissolving now. In the next 5-10 years, there will be some cargo ships going through that route. And DJT is looking at that place needs to be protected from countries like China and Russia. And the Danish won't be able to protect it whenever anything kicks off at that region. So DGT is now looking at Golden Dome, right? I'll explain quickly. That Golden Dome is a replica of the Iron Dome that Israel used during Israel-Iran war last year. So DGT want that to protect, the axis of that region coming towards United States. And remember, Canada is in line as well, right? But at the moment, McCartney is not playing games. So US now says, okay, we need that for a Golden Dome that will be built, and that will cost a lot of money though down the line. But DGT says because of the security of the nation, US must have total control of Greenland. An agreement has been made, but we don't know how that's going to play out. So what's my projection? My projection is like everything is still fluid. I've been speaking about geopolitics, right? Sorry, bear with me, because I always look at geopolitics when I'm picking stocks or an investment. So I would say geopolitics is going to play out this year. And I believe, right? I believe at the moment, the USS, I can't remember this carrier, these fighter jet carriers, they're docking around Iran at the moment. And we also what happened a couple of weeks ago when the internet was shut down in Iran. Protesters were killed, they say, according to the report, that up to 18,000 people have been killed already in Iran. DGT is not happy with these. World leaders are not happy with these. And we don't know what DGT is going to do, but all these carriers are docking very, very close to Iran. We need to watch that as well. If that thing kicks off, remember, the Iranian regime, they've also threatened that if US start this war, they will reciprocate accordingly. That means that region is going to go up in flame. Arab war again. That's going to reflect in the market. And we don't want to start seeing what happened 20-something years ago in Iran. I don't know how DGT is going to play that, but we need to keep an eye on Iran at the moment. That's where the time bomb is lying. So the time is ticking. I don't know how DGT is going to play that, but we need to watch that. As an investor, if I were you, I'm not going to be rushing into the market buying stuff, except for the metals. If you want to buy gold, you want to buy silver, that's a good investment for now. But for stock market, you want to hold. It's not a time to sell because everything can clear out and momentum can go up again. So you want to wait, you want to hold, save aside, put cash on the side. So whenever that opportunity goes, then you start quickly deploy. You quickly deploy your money. I've 13 minutes now. Sorry about that. I've taken your time, but I'm just saying, for a smart investor, you want to be very careful this year. The market is going to go down. I'm not certain about this. I'm not actually 100% certain about this, but I'm 80% sure that market is going to go down at some point this year, and you want to be ready to pick that opportunity on the favorite stocks of yours that's lying in your watch list. All right, guys. So for cryptocurrency, whenever S&P, Nasdaq goes down, remember, crypto always go down alongside with them. So if you're looking to buy Bitcoin or Ethereum or Solana, you want to wait. This year will actually play out the way we've never seen if anything kicks off in Iran. I don't know how Israel and US or maybe EU or NATO will support it, but hopefully it doesn't turn to a full-blown war. And we can only wish. All right, so guys, thank you very much for your support. I'll speak to you some other time. Please subscribe, follow as well. I'll speak to you both. So be careful, don't deploy your money yet. Wait, opportunity is going to open up. Bye for now.